Hello and welcome to episode number 36 of the Hobbies and Happiness podcast, where we talk all about the hobby that makes us happy, tabletop gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Dan.
And I'm Jim, and today we're talking about how Magic's dead. It's done. Game over.
All right, so there's actually been a lot of people who have that exact thought and opinion, and they've had it for the past few years.
Yeah.
So we, going back to episode 16 of the podcast, we talked all about the future of organized play. And that episode really came about from a lot of the recent, at the time, changes that Magic had to their competitive and organized play system. Mm-hmm. So, and so Magic, Wizards of the Coast, has made decision after decision after decision for over the past few years that honestly, and we talked about at the time, that really have shrunken the competitive player base, right?
Yeah.
They are just taking resource after resource after resource away from competitive in-person play and reallocating it to digital, right?
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about today is honestly a ramification, a big ramification of that. So we're just jumping right into it here, because honestly, there's a lot of things that I kind of want to talk about with this, because there's a lot of factors that that I'm really viewing this through the lenses of. So if you haven't heard, Star City Games. So Star City Games, if you're unfamiliar, right? If you're not a big Magic player, you're probably unfamiliar, maybe a little unfamiliar with Star City Games. So Star City Games essentially is a big. I mean, how would you describe Star City Games? I mean, they're essentially a card shop, right?
Yeah.
They're essentially a card shop that I don't know how they really started.
It's a huge business. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically a large card shop who sells singles, sells Magic sealed products, and a lot of sealed card products. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of like us. I mean, they're very large.
Yeah.
We're just the two of us, right? But we have big hopes and dreams and aspirations. And honestly, one of them was to be like a Star City Games.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we had a conversation just like that. So anyway, they're a large retailer, right? Who basically, they're catering toward the competitive card game player, right? Well, let's see, they released an article on January 25th, basically saying that they are no longer going to be producing strategy content for Magic the Gathering, okay? Which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a huge blow. So, I mean, basically, somebody tweeted this. They're like, so you are not going to be producing strategy content for a strategy card game. Like, how does that make any sense? So, I mean, there's a lot of things here. So, the article was entitled "SCG Announces Forthcoming Content Changes." It was written by Pete Hoeffling.
Oh, I think I know why. It's because it's not a strategy card game. It's a trading card game. So they're guides about trading the cards.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read like the first paragraph or two here, because it really does shine a light here. So for well over a decade, a sizable percentage of our marketing resources has been allocated to the publishing of high-level strategy and tournament-related content. However, in recent years, the overall effectiveness of our publishing such content has decreased substantially due to a lack of in-person events. Wizards of the Coast, WotC, significantly reducing their investments in both competitive Magic the Gathering play and the concept of the professional Magic player, and a variety of other situations that our content creators, editorial team, and company simply have no control over. So right there, I mean, this ripple effect. And I think we talked about at the time that when you're the company who is publishing and making this game, when you make these types of changes, they are going to have significant ramifications within the community itself.
Yeah.
And we are now really seeing it. So next paragraph starts, during this time, we tried to stick with a slightly modified version of our same content publishing model, but doing so resulted in our content publishing division losing a substantial amount of money in each of the last 2 years. Sticking with that same plan for third year was not an option, and in order to address the issue, I realized that we were going to have to make some significant changes to our content publishing model. Unfortunately, I also realized that doing so would require making some incredibly difficult choices. And then they go on to list basically the choices that were made, personnel within the company, how they're making changes, which is also kind of necessitating other changes that they're needing to make.
Is it something Phillips?
Yeah, Cedric Phillips.
Yeah.
So Cedric Phillips, basically he did a lot, from my understanding, he did a lot of the coordinating with all of the content creators. I mean, he's a the way that I kind of knew Cedric was a caster essentially for a lot of the SCG tournaments.
Yeah, like a shoutcaster.
Yeah. So Cedric is making a change. So there's just a lot of changes that they're making as a company. And it's not good. There's not one person that I've talked to that thinks this is good, you know. And so when that happened, we posted the link. I posted this link in our Discord, which if you're not in the Discord, you should change that. Head over, check the description, come join our Discord. It's totally free, where you can chat with us about anything. And this is a topic that we were talking a little bit about in our Discord. And everybody is just upset and disappointed because honestly, one of the things that SCG had was, I mean, they had a premium membership, right? Which, I mean, I can't remember how much it was. It wasn't a lot, but you paid monthly to get access to their writers and their strategy content, right? But now, with the changes that Wizards of the Coast has made, with their lack of basically lack of in-person events and also support for official in-person events from WotC, that people really aren't looking for that same strategy content, which on the one hand makes sense to me, but also on the other hand still doesn't make sense to me, because if the game is still being played, and when I say that, still meaning arena, because the game is still being played, right? It's still being played arena. Like, you're still going to want that type of content, right? But clearly, it's not profitable. It has not been profitable for SCG over the past 2 years now. So, clearly, with the shift from in-person to all digital, I mean, it used to be a hybrid. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It used to be favoring these in-person events and in-person play over digital. Because, I mean, arena has been a thing for how many years now? It's been around for a while now.
I was going to say, I know that they had beta testing for Kaladesh. So when Kaladesh was a thing, that was like the latest set. So yeah, it's been a few years.
It's been a few years.
4 years?
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Yeah.
And so at that time, I mean,
Ixalan's when it was official.
Is
I
okay.
think so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's been around for a while. So, and in the early stages, I mean, obviously they couldn't have preferred digital because it was still, you know, a baby basically. But even those early years, it was still okay. We are still heavily preferring these in-person events. And so I wasn't even around Arena at the time then. I'm wondering if within the community, if this was a concern from the get-go from the community. Because I mean, I remember when I started doing all this, that when I got involved in Magic, that there were rumblings from people, and honestly just conversations being had, mostly memes and jokes of, you know, this is going to be all digital one day.
Yeah.
And they're just not going to be supporting these in-person events anymore, like live in-person Magic the Gathering. And I mean, it was a meme. Like I honestly thought it was a meme at the time. But the longer it went on, the more conversations were had, and we were like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, I think this is actually going to be a thing. And there were still people who were like, no, you're crazy. Wizards would never do that. I mean, it's called Magic: The Gathering. We're not going to get rid of The Gathering.
They could.
Well, yeah.
They're about to.
Yeah. So I mean, like a change like this, I mean, this change that has been made over the past few years, I mean, this is a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly you have now content creators who are essentially now losing jobs. So in the Discord, we were talking about this, and there was one tweet that I wanted to bring up here from Amy, the Amazonian, good content creator. I always enjoyed watching her. She streams a lot of Magic. So she said, it's so disheartening because I've also seen myself and many of my friends unable to get sponsorships for or support for casual content either. And if casual and competitive content are both sidelined, what the heck are we supposed to make? I think it was in that article too. They mentioned like this applies to like hardcore, not hardcore, but casual content and also professional level. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I know what I'm talking about in my head. Like the casual content, competitive. There we go.
Oh,
You said it
okay.
right there. My bad. Brain fart. You've got the casual audience and the competitive audience. They're sidelining all of that content. Like, okay, so then you're just sidelining the game, like.
Yeah.
Well,
at that point, what content is there?
Yeah, like
entertaining, but then at that point, doing like crazy highlights of combos or whatever, then that's casual play.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
What
So
they would do.
as a content creator, like what are you supposed to make?
Yeah.
And so when I read that and the conversation I was having with the person at the time, the thing that came to my mind was that is why since I started doing content creation and we've had these conversations, that is why I've always thought that it is a bad idea to build your entire brand. Because I mean, if you're a content creator, you're a brand, right? You're building a business. To build it around one game. Like if you're in this space, don't just focus on one game. I really think the smart thing is if you're a content creator and you're in the gaming space, don't just do one game, okay? Do multiple games, because in a situation like this, and I mean, Magic is so big, but still, like, if you're doing that one game and that game dies, what are you going to create now? So a good example was when I first started doing content creation. I was learning the game The Elder Scrolls Legends. So that was the Elder Scrolls universe, and I've talked about this before. The Elder Scrolls card game, right? It is dead and defunct now. Like, you can still play it, and it's still fun. I still do play it from time to time, but nobody is making content for that game because it is not being supported by the developers. Nothing. So if they're not supporting it, right, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to make content out of? So I mean, at that point, if you're making content for a game that's dead and defunct, you now have to make a change. You now have to shift on the spot. Like, you have to flip on a dime and be like, well, time to play Legends of Runeterra, or something. I mean, I've been following a lot of content creators over the years. One of my favorite creators, actually, I don't know if you know who this is, MegaMogue. I think he's a card game player, right? I think he started with Gwent. He's played Gwent. He's played Magic. He plays Legends of Runeterra. There was the Valve card game Artifact. That's right. That one,
wow.
that one that came and went in like the blink of an eye. That game had so much hype behind it too. It did. But he's just moved from like one game to game. And I remember he left Magic to play Runeterra, I think when Runeterra like first came out. And I was looking at his tweet thread about this, and it was just interesting to hear his thoughts too. But like, these changes, I mean, they have ramifications.
Yeah.
They have actual big time ramifications, and we are now seeing it. And it's not, and now there are big financial ramifications too, because you have one of the biggest strategy content providers now no longer providing strategy content for a strategy card game.
Yeah, I mean, how big like SCG is when we compare the tournaments of Pro Tour being the highest tier possible, right? And that is official Magic, official Wizards Pro Tour. Is it still called Pro Tour? No, Magic
Dude,
Fest?
I don't even know. I
isn't
don't
it
know.
Magic Fest? I don't know.
I mean, Magic Fest is a thing, but they're not doing Pro
they're
Tours
not
anymore, I
called
don't
that.
think.
I forget what it's called now.
Where they do the tournaments?
Well, they changed the name of Pro Tour to something else like a while back. I don't remember
I think
the
we
name.
talked about it. I honestly can't remember because
so-
like used to be PTQs, and all that stuff, but it's
yeah.
all changed. It's all changed.
So if
The
we're
Magic
saying,
Pro League.
yeah, probably.
Dude, I don't even.
I think
know
that's
anymore.
gone now.
It's changed. It's all.
So if like the Pro Tour was the highest level competitive for Magic, right? Like the SCG was right barely underneath it. It wasn't official, but if you top SCGs, you win those, like people know who you are.
Yeah.
Like it is the second highest tournament in Magic.
Yeah. One of the things that I think Mogwai was talking about was, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. For a lot of high level play over the past many years, right? If you were to look at a tournament, you would always see a lot of the same names at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. But how does that make sense in a card game where there's so much variance, right? So one of the points that I think he was making was people like seeing, and I hate using this word, but I mean I think it makes sense, like seeing a diverse cast essentially at the top of these tournaments. So seeing different people at each tournament, not seeing Reduke. No disrespect to Reed. I absolutely love Reduke and respect the heck out of him. But always seeing these different players after every single tournament.
It is a lot of the time but then again, there's a whole lot of really good players. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, I haven't seen Jim Davis at the top 8 in a little bit, but Reed Duke's up there. And then like, you know, at the time when Kibler was playing, you know, he was up there as well. And he's also in the Hall of Fame. Same with Reed Duke.
Right.
I don't know if Jim Davis is.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
We could be wrong. We could be wrong. We're not
like
sure.
even he does extremely well. You know, there's so many other we're going to put quotes around these
quotes
pro
around
players
pro now anymore.
So it's kind of like, yes, you continually see them, but I also see it as like it's always like one of the X players, and it's always like, oh well, we know all these players, and these guys are constantly up there. And there's sometimes there was a recent, I guess a few years now, there was a tournament. One pro player ended up going like 2-7. He did terrible in the day, and they're like, "This guy's a pro." You know. So it's like, you know, there's that variance of he's, you know, he's not always at the top. And sometimes people just do bad.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's just it's interesting, and it's sad, but like the way it used to be, like with a lot of these pro players is
Back in my day.
but like they'd have their teams, right, and they would all work together. They would all group up together and like test out their strategies. But now it's like you don't have to physically meet in person, right? You can just Zoom, right, or just go in arena. But see, like even arena now still doesn't have the capability to, okay, let's get a 4-team, get 4 players all talking to each other, right, and spectate. I think arena still has a long way to go on the digital front, but what I'm actually trying to get at is you don't have to physically meet in person to work at all your strategies. You don't have to, but that's how a lot of these players, these again pro players, like started and came up in the ranks essentially. And it's just it's interesting now how times have changed so much, even over a very short amount of time.
Yeah. And even now, like if the pro players wanted to group up and do like 1v1s, but you have 2 people on each team, then it'd be like you'd have to get into Discord, set up a screen share so that way they can see, and then you're talking through all the different plays.
Yeah. One of the things that I also kind of I pointed out in this discussion is I also think that this is a huge reason why local communities are huge and very important. Because now with the death, essentially, I think in-person competitive Magic tournaments are dead.
I was gonna
Like
say
official organized tournaments.
like the best
in
thing we
person
got
are
is
dead.
locals.
Well,
like that's
right.
about it.
No,
but
right, exactly. Like, I mean, are they still gonna? I'm not even sure. Are they still gonna be doing SCGs?
I don't know.
I mean, we'll have to see.
I did look up. They do have SCG tours still.
Okay.
So I'm assuming they are.
Okay, but even SCG tours are not officially sanctioned Magic tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, and the SCG tours still are kind of go into this idea of local tournaments, right? They are important. Like if a local community wants to keep a game, a competitive scene alive, then the local communities have to step up and provide that opportunity and space for players of that game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in theory, it really wouldn't matter if Wizards decided to shut down Magic. If there was enough Magic players in our local area, which there are, like, you could very easily keep that metagame thriving in your local area.
Yeah.
If there's enough people who want to make it happen, and then a place that can organize, if just somebody to organize it all. So local communities are huge and extremely important because you can take these dead games and keep them alive.
You know, there's a card game that Blizzard used to have, the WoW TCG.
Yeah.
Before Hearthstone. It's completely dead now, but there's actually an online community that has released more expansions to the game.
They do that.
Obviously, this is not official.
Yeah, there's a lot of communities, and again, that's the great thing about the internet and just in this day and age, like the Lord of the Rings living card game. There's a lot of communities for that, and they release custom content all the time, like not official, but like official to them, like custom content.
Their judges have ruled it official.
Yeah, right, right. But again, all it takes is, you know, some dedicated players, a dedicated fan base, and then just some gumption to keep it going.
Yep.
And you can do it. Like that's a fantastic. That is a good thing. That's a great thing. But again, I just want to point out, I think it is very important in this space, this hobby space that we're in, that local communities really stick together, number one, but also, you know, get to know those people around you and find, if you're a Magic player, find the Magic players around you, right? Get together, play. I mean, we're grouping up with some friends of ours literally tomorrow.
Yes.
Like to play some Commander because we enjoy it. It's fun. Get that community of people around you. Go to your local game store. Hey, are there players of this game that come in here frequently? Because if so, I want to meet them. And hey, do you run tournaments? No, you don't? Let's start some tournaments. How many people know this game? Not a lot? Well, let's teach them. How can, you know, that's really, honestly, that's all it takes.
Yep.
And then whoever runs the game shop, just being able to work with them, and they need to be open too. So, I mean, just the ability to sit around a table and play these games that you love, I think is so very important. And honestly, anyone has that capability. One of my favorite things is, and we've talked about them on the show a lot, Team Covenant, but they do something like I think they call it Throwback Thursdays, where they take these dead games,
live streams.
they take these Dead games and they bust them out on the table and play them. I think right now they're playing the Lord of the Rings, not the living card game, but the trading card game.
Oh.
I mean, they play so many of these games, and it's like, honestly, that's another thing too. Like, just get a content creator, right, who has a community, play this game, and then that gets exposure to the game too.
Oh, speaking of, I don't know if I told you, I picked up
Probably
like a pretty good amount of WoW TCG stuff.
Nice.
So, because there's like they have a lair deck, which is essentially arch enemy.
Okay.
So then like, you have like 3 or 4 people in a party versus the one guy playing the arch enemy deck.
Okay.
So we're going to have to do that too one
Yeah,
day.
for sure. Yeah. I'm down. I mean, hey, I just played
It's essentially Magic. So like,
is it really?
Our entire commander group will just understand it.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah. So, this whole article was sad. I mean, I think the way I found out about it was LSV, Louis Scott Vargas, who runs Channel Fireball, essentially a competitor, a direct competitor to SCG. And he was like, obviously SCG is a competitor of ours, but this is still not a good thing that I like to see. It's still very sad.
Competition breeds greatness.
I'd be very interested to see how Channel Fireball is doing, honestly. But the thing I know with Channel Fireball is they are more diverse in their strategy content offerings. They have a lot more different articles, like for Flesh and Blood, Pokemon. They again diversify your content. And I think they've done from what I've seen, I think they've done a better job at diversifying their content than SCG has. And if Channel Fireball is succeeding and doing very well, and SCG is going through this, I mean, it doesn't take much to really see who's the winner in that.
A lot of people are going to either move over, or I actually wonder how many people were like getting the Channel Fireball strategy guides along with the SCG. So then it won't be like 100% of people move over, and then you
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I specifically had a SCG membership specifically for that strategy content, and now they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah,
so that's sad. So I'm very curious how many people who are in a similar boat to me, who I was getting that membership, but I'm not anymore because that was the value that I was seeing.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested to see how Commander Versus is doing. Because that's one where, I mean, that's not high level strategy. That's the casual audience.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I did want to point this out. There was in that same tweet thread for SCG. So the writer of the article was like, this was in reply to Brian Kibler. Which, do I have that tweet? I don't think I do.
Brian Kibler was another pro Magic player who now pretty much just plays Hearthstone.
Yes, yeah. He does do some casting, I think, for Magic tournaments, but again,
He also does casting for Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Oh, does he do stuff for Arena? Okay, I guess I'm not surprised.
He does stuff for Arena for sure. But anyway, the writer of the article was replying to Brian Kibler here, and he said, "Just so there are no misunderstandings, I still believe strategy content is worth supporting, and we plan on continuing to do so. However, we will be publishing less strategy content and more non-strategy content." And then, essentially, there was a reply to that. As a consumer of content of SCG for years, how is non-strategy content for a strategic game a good idea? I mean, really. I mean, I'm curious to, like, is he referencing, like, Commander Versus content like that is more casual? I mean, there's so many things that are up in the air right now.
Yeah.
And I also think a lot of this also has to do with Wizards' push towards making everything commanderized in Magic. Like, they are really pushing commander heavy. I mean, they've got to be seeing there's probably a big sales They see a lot of sales in Commander products.
Yeah.
They have to.
I mean, we kind of already knew.
Yeah.
You know, because we talked about how many actual people have gone into a locals
Yeah.
who play Magic.
Yeah.
It was like 10 or 15% of actual people who bought.
Yeah,
Magic.
I remember those stats.
It's
yeah.
so low.
Yeah.
But so many people who are playing just like at home.
Yeah.
Commander's ginormous.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
is the most casual friendly.
And we've talked about digital card games on this show for a while. I mean, we enjoy them. I mean, we are not saying anything bad about digital card games. Like, don't get us wrong. We love digital card games.
I hate them.
But
even though I'm playing a really big one right
now. I mean, one of the games that I'm looking forward to in this year is the DC.
Yeah.
The DC digital card game. I am looking forward to that. And honestly,
really cool.
one of the things that I want to implement somehow is, you know, when we start streaming, I want to be playing some of these digital card games and kind of figure out a way how we can implement us playing those games into our content strategy. We haven't figured it out. I mean, I want to, but in any case, we love digital card games and we play quite a few of them. So like, we're not at all bashing digital card games because we love them. We do enjoy them. If you're just listening, Jim was just basically making faces like, are we? But are we? Are we? Really? Are we?
I was gonna like the Thor meme.
Yeah. Yes. That I love that meme. That has so many applications. That meme. Oh, it's great. But anyway, Magic is in a very interesting place because I mean it's been around for a very long time.
How long, Dan?
Almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. Okay. All right. In any case, it's been a strictly tabletop game for
28 and a half.
It's been a strictly tabletop game for its entire existence. Minus the recent push towards Magic Arena. Now, Magic Online, I mean, that's been around for...
TGO's been around for a long time.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. But I mean, I don't know if it never got traction or really what happened. But it's just now everything is just being... our entire world is being digitized. Yeah. So Magic is in a very interesting place. Like, it's very popular. But... there's just a lot of playing. If you've been playing the game for so long, you're so used to playing with these physical cards in front of you. And you've spent, like, if you've been playing from the beginning, you've probably spent thousands upon thousands. You may have spent over $1 million on cards. If you've been playing from the beginning and, like, you buy cards a lot, like, you buy cards on a consistent basis. I'm not saying I have.
I was going to say, all right. I feel like millions a lot, but if you're starting from the beginning and the value of your cards that you've spent money on, I could see it being a mill depending on like if you bought like Black Lotuses back then for like $20.
Right. But again, also what I'm saying is how depending on how often you buy cards, right? Yeah. And if you're a collector, whatever, like it's possible. It's not very likely, but it is possible.
There are people out there, for sure.
For sure. I saw a guy drop $50,000 on one card at an event I was at. And I remember because the guy was like, the guy trying to sell the card was like, so you're interested in looking at this? Like, yeah, let me check my account here. Hang on one second. Yeah, I think I'm interested. I'm like, holy crap!
Wow. I thought I was balling when I was like 400.
I mean, you were, Jim. I
was balling.
Okay.
I was balling. I'm like, I'm at Gen Con. I'm getting something.
I'm getting something nice. Goodness.
We did pick up that really cool game though. The one where you play stuff at any time.
Oh, that was so weird.
I forget what it was called. The Tales of Heroes or something.
No, I think I have the rules over there somewhere.
Oh, do you?
I was cleaning out a bag or something, and I think I had them there. I don't know. It was weird. But
I came across it today. That's why I brought it up. I'm like, oh man, this game was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Jeez. Anyway, okay. So there's just in an article like this when you have one of the biggest strategy content providers saying, yeah, we're not providing strategy content anymore. I mean, just so many questions. I mean, it's clearly they're losing money.
Yeah.
They are losing money. So why? Like, why are they losing money? That would be my question. Well, I mean, we can answer that by assuming, I mean, clearly people are not consuming their strategy content. Okay, but why are people not? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions, but I mean, the answer honestly ultimately has to stem from Wizards saying no more in-person events.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I mean, it has to be, and I think it's pretty clear and obvious at this point that their Wizards decisions are having so many negative effects on the pro Magic scene.
And it's not even like these pro players were making a whole lot of money.
No,
it's not like they were doing it to earn millions of dollars, $100,000s of dollars.
Some of them were doing it just to make a living.
Yeah,
like,
and it's not amazing.
No, and it wasn't a great living. I mean, they were just being able to make it.
Yeah. And as of right now, like the pro players, the most of their money they're getting is from sponsors of like, I mean, we don't have this sponsor, but like NordVPN. Or they'll do like some Raid Shadow Legend. They sponsor anyone.
Yeah.
Raid Shadow Legend.
But now they do sponsor anybody. Maybe we should get a sponsorship with them.
You know, I'll bust it out on the phone right now. Contact me, guy. I don't even know the company.
Neither do I.
The Raid Company.
The Raid Company. That's great.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, I'll find it out. Maybe the company is Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
No, but anyway, I mean, it's clear. It's clear that
it's not great.
Supporting this content, I mean, is losing you money. So, like, what are you to do? Like, as a content creator, if you create Magic content, what are you supposed to do?
YouTube. That's about it.
What do you mean YouTube?
What do I mean? Yeah, you literally just have like live streaming and making videos, but
but
again, that's independent, not so much with the company.
Well, but again, if no one is consuming that content, if no one is consuming the Magic content, what are you to do?
Well, I wouldn't say no one's going to consume it, but
but if you're not making as much money as you
yeah,
would.
I'm more so saying like, because you know how like what's his name, Covert CGB, that's it. Because like that guy has like, we're gonna put quotes around strategy guides for the game, but it's a more of an entertaining thing.
Well, right, but that model of the types of videos he was doing is basically and I'm not saying CGB was the first to do it because he wasn't. But
I just brought him up.
Yeah, no, sure. But the way he does his videos is like the model that all card game players do their videos now. I mean, it's what I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you play a deck, you take a deck, you do a 5-minute deck profile, and then you have X amount of matches that you want to showcase, and that's your video.
They've been doing the same thing in Yu-Gi-Oh for years.
Yes, right. Same thing with Magic. The key in doing those videos is be entertaining. Yeah, right. That's the main key, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's just so many factors.
Maybe SCG is just trying to get like a stream team. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's clear that they're losing money.
Yeah,
it's clear they're losing money.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'll be very interested to see where SCG how they pivot from here.
It could also just be like cutting the people that a lot of people aren't reading or watching, and then just keeping all the things that they know people are looking at.
They're making significant changes to the content that they are basically distributing.
Yeah, because
they're producing and distributing.
Yeah, because they say they're still going to have some of this content. It's not 100% leaving.
And I'll bet you anything that they're keeping Commander Versus.
Yeah,
just because of how popular Commander is.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Commander Versus does very well.
Yeah, I also
for SCG.
Yeah, I also don't know about like the other versus series where it's like I always forget their names, but sometimes Jim Davis will be on there.
Yeah, for the longest time, it's been Corey Baumeister and
That's
Ross.
right. Yeah, he's been really picking it up.
And
Who's
Ross.
the other guy?
Ross.
No. I'm saying Corey would. It was Ross and another person. He was a Alabama fan. Todd Anderson?
Todd Anderson?
Yeah, Todd Anderson.
Yeah.
So like
he was doing it for a little bit.
Yeah, so they tend to either do like standard or modern. Well, sometimes Pioneer now. Like those three.
Yeah, they did a lot of standard and modern. Yeah.
But if there's not like enough,
there's no interest
for those formats.
Yeah. I'd be interested
could get cut.
Right, and I'd be interested to see again now with Arena and Historic. Where's the is modern more popular or is historic more popular?
Yeah. They could also just turn those rather than me and you sitting here playing the card game, it could just be like, all right, well now Dan is just going to be playing Arena. Rather than in-person events and then having to deal with all the cards and blah, blah, blah.
So we go from Magic, right? And what now SCG is doing to then you look at a company like Legend Story Studios and Flesh and Blood, where they are 100% committed and dedicated to that local community, that local in-person community.
Yep.
I mean, if Legend Story was as big as Wizards would be, with their guiding principles, they would never have made these decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made. And again, now I'm not bashing Wizards for the decisions they've made because again, as a company, I get it. I mean, I get it. You have to make these decisions to make your board happy, your stockholders happy. I get it. I understand. But Wizards of the Coast does not have the same guiding principles and philosophy that Legend Story Studios has.
Yep.
And now, obviously, Wizards is also publicly traded and a division of Hasbro. So, I mean, again, you've got a mammoth company whose only goal is to make money. Again, don't fault you for that. I get it. I understand.
But we don't have to like it.
Right. but then also you compare it to a company like Legend Story who, from their get-go, they have these principles of, community first. Right? Local community, 100%. That's where we are putting our money, and that is where we are supporting. They would not make decisions like this. Now, I am also very interested to see if in the future they come out with a digital client.
Yeah,
I'd be because of the type of company they are. I'd be very interested to see if they do it. Now, who knows? They might have even come out and talked about that. I'm not aware of it. I'm just not aware of it. But I'd be interested to see if they would ever, number one, and two, how they'd handle it. So I'd be interested to see that.
I think they should.
Oh, sure.
It'll get a lot more people also into the game.
Yeah, right. But again, the moment you do that, that is when you're at a crossroads of where do we allocate our resources? Where do we give the money to? Do we give that more towards the digital side and make that experience better, or do we keep funneling money towards in-person stuff? You know, I mean, because again, you need a lot of money to handle it. Yeah, exactly. So again,
making a video game is not cheap. Well, some can be.
and you can tell.
Flappy Bird.
Dude, don't knock Flappy Bird. Don't knock
Look,
Flappy
you're not going to
Bird.
tell me that it took 150 devs to make Flappy Bird.
No.
Okay. You're not going to tell me that it probably took more than 5 devs to make Flappy Bird.
Dude, it probably took one guy.
And that dude made
so
so much money.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you how much time I lost to that game.
Please.
Boop.
Please, no.
Boop, 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 boop. I'm wondering, do I even have it on my phone? I don't think I have it on this phone.
I would be surprised if you had it.
Let me look. Flappy.
Because
Flappy Bird. There it is. Not on my phone. Dang it. 2013 mobile video. 2013?
Oh my.
Whoa.
Did you almost say 10 years ago, Dan?
Holy cow. 2013 mobile video game by Dong Win. Is what I believe. Oh, man. Flappy Bird is a mobile game developed by Vietnamese video game artist and programmer Dong Nguyen.
One dude.
Under his game development company, Gears. The game is a side scroller where the player controls a bird attempting to fly between the columns of green pipes without hitting them. Nguyen created the game over the period of several days using a bird protagonist that he had designed for a canceled game in 2012. Several days, guys. One dude, a couple of days. Yeah. Actually, my brother, he's got a degree in I can't remember. It's like computer science, I think is what his degree is. But he does programming, and he's made a couple of games. Wow. And I helped him test out a game. I just thought it was the coolest thing. I'm like, you made that? That's just so cool to me. Yeah. But yeah, one guy, couple days made Flappy Bird. If you don't know what we're talking about, go look it up. Just don't download it, or else you're gonna lose a lot of time.
I was gonna say, I don't even know if you're actually able to download.
I don't know
the
if
official.
You can anymore.
Yeah, that's been off the store.
Has it?
Yeah, that's been off the store for a while.
Why did they do that?
So I forget.
It's clearly it's been a long time.
It was like the first huge mobile game.
It was.
And there was a few years ago. All right, we'll start the timeline. Flappy Bird's out on phone. A few years go by, you can't download it anymore. Then people were selling their phones that had Flappy Bird on it for like thousands of dollars.
Are you serious?
Yes, this was an actual thing. And so now the only phones that have it are if you didn't delete it back before they took it off the store. And it also used to be able to where you could re-download it if it was in your app history, but it was off the store.
Why? Okay, so why did they take it off initially?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. Let me see if I can find it out real quick.
If you guys are younger than Flappy Bird, I
don't know what to tell you. Just look it up.
Do your parents know you're here?
No. So Flappy Bird. All right, let's see what we can find out here real quick. All right, so that was what I read was from
Flappy Bird.
I know this is so weird, but I'm here for it.
Flappy Bird is also dead. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so here we go. The game was released in May of 2013, but received a sudden spike in popularity in early 2014 and became a sleeper hit. Flappy Bird received poor reviews from some critics who criticized its high level of difficulty and alleged plagiarism in graphics and game mechanics.
Oh, man.
While other reviewers found it addictive. It was very addictive. At the end of 2014, it was the most downloaded free game in the App Store for iOS. During this period, its developers said that Flappy Bird was earning $50,000 a day from in-app advertisements as well as sales. So free... It's free to download, but dude was making $50,000 a day.
We're in the wrong business.
Flappy Bird was removed from both the App Store and Google Play by its creator on February 10th, 2014. He claims that he felt guilt over what he considered to be its addictive nature and overuse. Its popularity and sudden removal caused phones with the game installed before its removal to be put up for sale for high prices over the internet. Games similar to Flappy Bird became popular on the iTunes App Store in the wake of its removal, and both Apple and Google have removed games from the App Store for being too similar to the original. Interesting, dude. That's so long ago. I totally forgot about that.
So I remember playing this game a little bit. I did not play it a lot. I didn't get addicted to it, probably because I played good games. So
what are you trying to say? Flappy Bird wasn't a good game?
That game was terrible.
It was so good, man. Come on.
No, it wasn't.
Question of the day.
What?
Question of the day. Did you like Flappy Bird? If you played it, did you like it? And was it good or did it?
If I see any yes comments, I'm deleting them.
I will not delete them. I will highlight them.
He's gonna pin one every single day.
Yes, correct. Oh man. Anyway, were you saying something?
Plus,
before I cut
Dan,
you off?
About what?
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, Dan tends to just look at the comments. I'd look when he's like, hey, there's a comment about you. I'm like, all right, let me
I'm like,
look.
hey, somebody's talking smack about you. Go read it.
And I'm like, all right, here's a heart, dude. Like, what do you want from me?
Oh man. All right. So anyway, I don't know. I do not know how we got to talking about Flappy Bird, but I'm here for it. That was fun. So
Oh, we were talking about Flesh and Blood making an online game. And
yeah.
Because it takes a lot of
Yes.
resources.
Yeah. So you look at Wizards and then you look at Legend Story. I mean, obviously very different size companies, right? But again, I look at this issue and my biggest takeaways are just the huge ripple effects. Number one, from the decisions that Wizards of the Coast has made, right? I mean, it's clearly causing effect after fact after fact after fact to happen within the game community itself. But I think personally, my biggest takeaway has been just the evidence from a content creator standpoint of, hey, you want to create content in the gaming space, don't focus on one game, okay? Especially in our space of card games and strategic games, there's a breadth of so many awesome games out there that you can just look into, dive into, learn about, teach other people about, showcase. Don't just focus on one game because, I mean, yes, even within one game, like there's so much content there that you can dive into and open up and make for people. But also I say don't pigeonhole yourself into one game because you can get yourself into trouble, right? Unintentionally, obviously, right? Yeah. But like the potential is there for just these bad things to happen, unfortunately. So that's my biggest takeaway. So, I mean, I would tell anyone who's in the gaming space, try to find a couple of different games that you enjoy, right? And then honestly, because what you could even then do is test them all out, see which ones work, right? So like for us, like our villainous games, our villainous content, by far is our most downloaded and viewed content, which is very interesting to me. Now, granted, we haven't done a lot of other different games, but and again, that also doesn't mean, well, all we're doing is Disney Villainous, right? Like that's not the case either. But again, it's data that, hey, maybe the next one we should do, maybe should be something towards villains or whatever. But again, it's just it's good to get that information and say, hey, here's what's popular today. Because again, you can even look at on your graphs of, okay, on this day, this was popular, right? It's just, it's good to know that. And then again, because, you know, you run into that possibility of, well, the dev just canceled our game. Now what?
And, you know, out of all the games that we have played on the channel, which aren't like too many,
right.
I think I like Villainous the least out of all the other ones we've played.
Yeah.
But so it's also that it's also the most popular. Right now.
And honestly, it was funny because that was the first game that we played, but also that was the first time you played that game. This game too, Villainous, right? Wasn't it?
Well, not like on camera, because we played it a few times.
But when you and I played that game with me, that was the first.
Yeah, that was the first time. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just interesting. So anyway, yeah, I think there's just this. It just calls back to a lot of conversations that we've had on this channel. Just about, I mean, we've talked about communities, digital card games, organized play. There's a lot of things that now, a lot of things just coming full circle. Yeah. And we are now really seeing in real time, because before now it's just been, here's these decisions and changes that Wizards are making as a company. Well, now we are really seeing the lasting consequences of those decisions.
Well, now I got to go to more SCGs in case they're like, no more of these.
No more of these, yeah.
Because those are super fun.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, seriously, but if they stop doing their SCG tournaments, there's not going to be a lot of big in-person tournaments for Magic.
Yeah.
And so at that point, again, what's left? What you have in your local area.
Yeah.
And if no game store is putting on those tournaments,
or at that point, there's also like I'm a part of a few Facebook groups, and they'll sometimes have people that are coming from different states to these big prize pool tournaments.
Right.
You know, it could be like we're getting rid of a case to first place, and then another case for top 8 or whatever it is.
Right.
So or top 4.
Right. Yeah. So that's all we got for today. I mean, I didn't think we were going to talk about this today, but I mean, with that announcement, we really could not pass up. We couldn't pass up talking about this, unfortunately. So
and it's not like we talk a lot about Magic, but it's not like
mostly
an entire podcast, entire episode.
Yeah, but and again, like, this episode wasn't just about Magic. It was just, here's what's happening in Magic that can happen in these other games that you are playing.
This is like the biggest card game out there.
Yes.
So
like the biggest in-person card game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see, like, especially because it's a game that we love and enjoy playing, that anytime it's a game that you love to play, you hate seeing something like this happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. So Jim, where can people find you if they want to hit you up on the internet?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram and I was about to say Twitch and Twitter. I mean, you can also find me on Twitch at Jim Morgan HNH.
Because you were streaming the other day.
Yeah, I was, and I'll be back on again Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And you can find me on Instagram at daniel.g.campbell and Twitter at _DGCampbell. And then you can find Hobbies and Happiness on just about every social platform. It's usually hobbies.n.happiness. If you go to our website, hobbiesandhappiness.com, you will find links to all of our social platforms there, or the networks, the platforms that we are on.
Yeah.
So if you've got a story, a gaming story that you want to send us, shoot us an email at hobbiesandhappiness@gmail.com. Again, follow the link. You'll find the information there. If you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that way we can get this show out to more people. That'd be amazing. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more podcast episodes
comment, and subscribe
and more videos on the channel. So coming to you soon. Can't wait. All right. So that's all we got for today. And thanks for being here, Jim. Fun. And we'll see you in the next episode. All right. See you, everybody.
Take care.